Hi, I'm Robert Osborne. Our next coming-of-age film on this October Tuesday is The Graduate, released by Embassy Pictures in 1967 and directed by Mike Nichols. It's a terrific social satire, also the film that made Dustin Hoffman a star, and a film that gave Anne Bancroft one of her most memorable movie roles, that of the seductive older woman, Mrs. Robinson. Hoffman plays a young college grad who can't decide quite what to do with his life. And while he's trying to figure all of that out, into his life comes Anne Bancroft and Catherine Ross. And that's when the trouble really begins for him. It's a story that right now is being done in a very successful stage adaptation in London, one that's been in the news a lot because of the various women who've been starring in it, starting with Kathleen Turner, then Jerry Hall, and recently Anne Archer. Now, this movie version was the second film directed by the then 26-year-old Mike Nichols. Nichols had made his feature film debut just the year before with the drama Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? And it was that 1-2 punch that made Nichols one of the most important and influential movie directors of the late 1960s. Now, The Graduate was a huge success on all fronts. Its anti-establishment theme really struck a chord, especially with younger moviegoers in 1967. And the film was also honored at Academy Award time, receiving 7 Oscar nominations and winning the statuette for Mike Nichols' direction. The movie also introduced the famous song Mrs. Robinson, written by Paul Simon and performed by Simon and Garfunkel, a chart topper that was not nominated for an Oscar, by the way. Here's the film, also with Richard Dreyfuss in a bit part, The Graduate from 1967. When Dustin Hoffman, very much an unknown actor at the time, was offered the role of Benjamin, it came as part of a deal which would have committed Dustin to doing 6 more movies as well. So he turned it down. His agents told him he was crazy, that he'd never get an opportunity like that again. But Hoffman held out. He didn't want to be assigned to movie roles and be forced to make movies he didn't necessarily want to do or believe in. Well, eventually the producers gave him the part anyway, at a salary, though, of just $20,000. Well, after taxes and expenses, Hoffman barely made enough to pay his rent. And interestingly, he was in New York collecting unemployment checks when this movie was released and made him overnight a big, big star. Up next on TCM, Sandra Dee and Troy Donahue are in love, much to the chagrin of their parents, who have a few raging hormones of their own.
Welcome to Turner Classic Movies, open all night and coming of age. Troy Donahue and Sandra Dee carry on their love affair at a summer place. Then teen queen Molly Ringwald overcomes her lot in life in Pretty in Pink. And Katharine Hepburn, Frances Dee, and their sisters mature into Little Women. They're not just the fairer sex on Turner Classic Movies all night.